I'm Grieves from Pastoral Farming Climate Research. I'm not a farmer. I'm here.
You used to be.
I used to be a farmer. I'm here today, as all of you are here today, is because what we've got going on here, this government is wrong.
Yeah.
I'm chairman of Pastoral Farming Climate Research. What we're focused on is the emissions from livestock, and we're promoting the research and to find out what is actually happening. How come livestock are supposedly increasing the atmospheric concentration of greenhouse gases? Because the evidence so far indicates that they're not. The evidence indicates that what the government is telling us about livestock emissions is not true, nor is what the scientists who feed at the table laden with climate change money, nor what they say is true. They're telling us lies. This ETS is based on lies. And John Keys thinks we should be grateful because he's only taken half the money that Labor are going to take. We're not grateful.
Absolutely not.
Because this scheme is just as unjust as Labor's scheme, and we are here because of that injustice. As of 1st of July, farmers, pensioners, workers, unemployed, MPs, everybody is going to be paying money to this government to give to foresters to subsidise their operations so they can plant trees and New Zealand can look good on its Kyoto balance sheet. Well, they don't need to do that because Kyoto is dumb.
Yes.
When they signed Kyoto agreement, they left their heads at home. They need to hang their heads and shame those people, because for many reasons, but the one I'm focused on is methane. They included methane in the Kyoto Protocol, and there's no evidence that methane has any effect from intricate methane has any effect on livestock, on the atmosphere. I'm sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not to be included. It has to be something which alters the composition of the atmosphere. As much methane is removed from the atmosphere every day, and as much carbon is removed from the atmosphere every day over a farm as is produced by that farm. There was no increase. It should not even be included, yet inexplicably the government of the day included it. And as a result, our emissions profile per capita, the country doesn't reflect reality. Farmers are unfairly and incorrectly called polluters by people who are ignorant or malice towards farmers and don't understand. Farmers are not polluters, because when animals eat, no more carbon dioxide, no more methane enters the atmosphere than existed before. This is supposed to be about global warming. They included methane. They've stuffed up the Kyoto Protocol, and that's the mistake. That's what needs to be removed. You don't go taking money off poor New Zealanders to give to overseas foresters to fix up one mistake. That's another mistake. You don't fix one mistake with another. And as for saying there's going to be a review in a couple of years' time, if there are so many overwhelming and sound reasons to scrap this ETS right here, right now, and next time they review it, there's only going to be more sound and overwhelming reasons to scrap it. If they won't scrap it now, they're not going to scrap it then. New Zealand farmers are going to stand alone in the world paying for emissions that don't exist. These carbon dioxide equivalents, which were invented by mad scientists and accepted by unthinking politicians, they do not reflect reality. Absolutely. And New Zealand farmers are going to stand alone paying for these bullshit emissions. What this government needs to do, if they want to really do something about climate change, if they believe in it, do the research and find out what livestock effect is on the atmosphere. They refuse to do the research because they don't want to know the answer. Instead, they just want to tax and tax and tax and pay for forestry. So that's all I've got. I've got to thank you people for coming out. Pastoral Farming, we're dedicated to try to get this government to put the money into the research instead of spending $45 million trying to mitigate an emission they don't even know needs mitigating. The whole global warming debate has not, there's no logic, there's no theory, there's no, there's no sense in it all. There's definitely no sense at all, including livestock emissions in it. And as of 1st of July, it's going to be even harder to wind back the clock and make sense of something that doesn't make absolutely any sense at all. We need a government that's going to look at the facts and look after its people and not be conned into cowering to a world. We don't cower to the rest of the world over our nuclear policy, so why should we cower to the world over this ridiculous Kyoto Protocol? Scrap it and let's get on and bring sanity back to New Zealand.
Where are the Maori MPs? From any party. However, John Key did not necessarily need any of them because he started negotiating with the Iwi Forum. Do you know who they are? They are the chairpersons of each iwi, runanga or trust. And he needed them, closer still. Oh, I'll have to kiss it. It's a long time since I've done any kissing. And he negotiated with Maori chairpersons of each runanga and trust. So he didn't need the Maori Party or any other Maori members of Parliament. So much for democracy in this country. So Maoris, we have no voice. And the next thing I want to say is this, that the government promised carbon credits to Maori because we're mainly in forestry. We don't own all of the forests. 55% is out of our control, out of New Zealand control actually. A third is owned by the Americans, the rest by the Asians. Did you know that? So much for the carbon credits, or what they call in the Act, 2002 Climate Change Act, New Zealand units. So much Maori, we're not going to get anything at the end of the day. Last week, I've been keeping up with trade. I don't know anything about trading and so forth, but I've been getting myself up to speed. And guess what? From 2002 onwards, the biggest thing going, biggest commodity in the trade and exchange was carbon credits, otherwise known to New Zealand as New Zealand units. Guess what? As from last week on, they're worth very little. They've gone right down. The leading commodities now are metals like gold, palladium, and what's the other one? Yeah. In any case, we're not even in the running. So Maori, we're not going to get anything for our carbon credits. So much for the carbon credits. And I want to thank everybody. John Boscowan, if he's here. I have been keeping it going on my radio program, 6:03 a.m. Radio Wātea in Mangere, Auckland, every week, because this is the most disastrous thing that's happened in this country. Kia ora koutou katoa.
Thank you everyone for coming along here. I just want to read this out. Neil and Esther and their two children did a fantastic job at Mystery Creek and got 100 pages of signatures, and I want to read what the signatures are signing. They say, "Dear Mr. Key and members of Parliament, we ask you please to scrap the ETS." And that's the ACT message to this Parliament. We opposed Labour's fart tax, and we stood out here. We opposed the Labour Party when they proposed the emissions trading scheme. We have opposed the National Party and the Maori Party when they have proposed a modified emissions trading scheme. This scheme is an attack on every family, every household, every business and every farmer in the country, because it's going to put up your costs, it's putting up New Zealanders' costs. Nowhere else in the world are they going to have to incur this cost. And here's a thought for you. We will be in this Parliament as the ACT Party opposing the emissions trading scheme until it is dumped. And if the ACT Party had an extra 3 or 4 MPs, we wouldn't have the emissions trading scheme that we have now. It would be dumped, and that's our commitment at the next election. So if you oppose the emissions trading scheme, the message is clear to voters in New Zealand. Give your party vote to ACT, we'll dump it, we'll do the business for you.